I'm Cynthia. I'm the host of the reality series CPS The Horror Stories. I thank you so much for being so patient and working with me on getting your interview done. So
Thank you.
Okay, Kelsey, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Kelsey. I am from South Lake Tahoe, California, born and raised, and now I'm living in Honolulu, Hawaii. I transferred with my job to here, and I do timeshare. I'm also a certified dental assistant, and I have a degree in criminal justice and addiction studies.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I love strong women who accomplish a lot of things. I am too that type of way. I was a firefighter and a hairdresser and a personal trainer and a LVN, and so all the things too. So I think that's amazing, and it blows me away that we would have problems having our children removed. We're obviously not people running amok and stuff. We're focused.
Yeah.
So, were you in the foster system as a child?
No, I was not. I had a really, really good childhood up until I turned 16, 17. My parents got a divorce and my mom was drinking really heavily and she was taking pills, but she had to have 2 major back surgeries. So she was permanently disabled. So I didn't see any violence in my home or anything like that. It was just kind of with my mom.
How did that affect you? Just curious.
Well, when I was 19, I came home from work from my first time, like my first job, and I was a courtesy clerk. And she told me that her stomach was upset, and I was sitting with her on the couch, or I was laying on the couch, and she was sitting in a chair. And all of a sudden, she started making really funny noises, and I looked over, and my mom had like died right in front of me. So I put her down on the ground, and I started pumping her heart. And I called 911, and the paramedics came, and they brought her back to life. And she sat in the hospital for almost 3 years with a feeding tube and a trach. And it was heart-wrenching. It was heartbreaking. And then she passed away. And her family members came out of the woodwork for her money, for her cars, for her assets. And they took me to court, and it was crazy.
How old were you when all this happened?
I was 19 years old when it happened, and I was 23 when she passed away.
Wow. It's, I'm permanently disabled too, and I have a feeding tube. Mine goes through my stomach. I mean, actually it doesn't. It goes through my small intestines.
Ow.
Yeah. Have you seen my...
No.
No?
No. Oh my goodness.
So this one feeds me, and then this one empties my stomach so that I can still enjoy taste,
Wow. I'm so sorry.
So it's hard on my kids.
Yeah, for sure. That has to be so hard and scary. And you have 2 young children, right?
8. He's gonna be 8 September 7th, and then my daughter's 10.
Oh, how cute.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did CPS start in your life?
Okay, so in June of 2016, my husband and I went to a family gathering, and we got pretty intoxicated, and we were just kind of, just being dumb, and we ended up getting into a full-blown domestic dispute. And I called the police on him, and they came to the house. They took me into the paramedics, and they left my 2 daughters there and called CPS. So I'm in the paramedic. My husband takes off running. He finally does get, he got arrested. And CPS took my kids. And I tried to go to the office the next morning, or that night actually. And she was like, yeah, your kids are in Jackson. And I was just like, well, what? What do you mean? Like, I was basically the victim and the first reality of it. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. And She threatened me. She intimidated me. She was conniving. She was, she was so totally unprofessional. And it started the whole CPS case. And it was heartbreaking. And I tried to do everything that I was supposed to do. My husband tried to do everything, like we already knew we weren't supposed to be fighting, you know what I mean? But it's not illegal to drink in your own home. And I don't know the law, and now I do after what happened. And I should have never let her in. I should have made sure that those girls were in the paramedic with me, or I wasn't going anywhere. And I can't go back, and it sucks. But that's what started the entire CPS case. And we went through reunification. We went through drug testing. I had a full-time job. My husband was working. We went through everything. And that day that they took the girls the first time, my mother-in-law, Ramona, called my my husband's great-grandmother. All family came forward trying to get the girls because they were just like, why didn't you call us first? We're the family. You know what I mean? And they were like, nope, sorry, I don't care. It doesn't matter if you're family, and I'll never forget my mother-in-law called the CPS office, and she was just like, I want my granddaughters. I want them now. And the lady there, I'm not going to say any names, obviously, because I can't, but the lady there was just like, nope, sorry, they're already in Jackson.
Now, how far is that from where you were?
So I was in Tahoe. Jackson was probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours from Tahoe.
Are you still married?
Yes, me and my husband are still together. I do have custody of my son, and his name's Connor. My daughters, and I don't have them. I lost my parental rights to both of them.
Why?
So we went through the CPS thing. We went through everything, and basically they tried to make it to where me and Jesse were not allowed to be together.
Yep.
And
they made me and my husband divorce too.
Yeah. So I had to go through all of these things. And it was the most scariest experience ever because this is my husband. This is the man that I married. You know what I mean? Like I have children with this man, and I didn't listen to them when it came to that because I was just like, you cannot tell me who I can and can't be with. If we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, what's the problem? I'm not abusive to my children. My husband's not abusive to our children. This was between me and him. This was a difference between me and him. And some people can drink, some people can't drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also was smoking weed, and I got in trouble for that as well. They used that against me in my court reports, calling me a drug addict, that I was unfit to be a parent because I drank and I smoked pot, and that, the night that this all happened, of course, my house was destroyed because me and Jesse obviously were fighting, and they used that against us as well, that my house was disgusting and unfit, and it was just, I couldn't believe it. Me and him, we did so dirty by El Dorado County at CPS, and it breaks my heart because there's so many people in that county that are losing their children. And I don't even do drugs. My husband doesn't do drugs. And I'm not trying to validate that or make me sound any better than anybody else because I'm not. But my case was unfair. And now I don't have custody of my daughters. And I don't know when I'm going to see them again. And I have a really hard time with it because my daughter being second grade this year, I missed that. I missed her going to kindergarten. I missed her going to first grade. Starting kindergarten, and it's just not fair. And throughout this entire CPS case, we did have some mishaps. Of course, all the stress is on the parents to get it together and do drug testing and do rehab or parenting classes or counseling and keep a job, keep a house, they just make it to where you fail. This system makes you fail.
So, was your son involved in the case?
No, yeah. So, Connor is going to be 2 September 30th. Hold on just a second so I can turn up the Toy Story for him. So Connor is going to be 2 September 30th. And my case ended I lost my parental rights October 17th, 2018. And CPS never came after my son. But they did threaten me that if anything ever happened, that they would take him away from me.
When was the last time you saw your girls?
I saw Emma Nava my last visit, and that was in November of 2018.
Were they adopted out?
Yes, they were adopted too. So that's another thing. So what happened was I wasn't supposed to be with Jesse, and they caught us. They caught on to that I was allowing Jesse to see his daughters with unsupervised visits. They also caught on that I was pregnant because I was hiding my pregnancy. I was so scared that they were going to try to take my son, and I was a month shy of getting my case closed, of having CPS out of my life. And they caught us, and they went to the neighbor's house where we used to live, and they took a picture of my husband's picture off of his Facebook and went over to the neighbor's house and showed the picture. And the neighbors are like, oh yeah, he's always outside playing with his kids. And that was it, bam. And they took us back to court. They said that I was, that I violated, that I was allowing Jesse to see his daughters, and that I was not keeping my daughters safe away from their father and all of our family. So when the case first went down, Jesse's grandma had custody of Emma. We got him out of the foster home, and poor grandma had these girls for an entire year. And mind you, she's in her 70s. And she had a nice house. She had, a nice home, she did everything. She cooked for them. She cleaned for them. She took them to school. She took them to all their counseling classes throughout everything. And she had plastic grapes on top of her table. And CPS used that against her in court, saying that we told the grandmother she's not allowed to have the plastic grapes because the children can choke on them. So grandma had these girls for an entire year. When I lost my daughters, everybody said that basically CPS thought I was deceitful, that I was dishonest with them. And all of our family came forward. My dad, Jesse's side of the family, my mother-in-law, my sisters-in-laws, Jesse's grandmother, we all came forward to try to get the girls. Well, like I told you, my mom passed away. So my mom's side of the family and we don't talk. We don't get along because of what they did to me when my mom passed away. So here comes my cousin out of the woodwork, and he wants custody of my daughters. So CPS gives him custody because they were worried that me and Jesse would have unlimited access if any of these other family members got them. So they took him to Oregon. That's where my cousin lives, and he's completely cut me off. He thinks that I'm just the worst piece of crap person on this planet. And it's really, really sad. And he hasn't let me see him. He's blocked me from Facebook. He's blocked my phone number. He's blocked my Instagram. So
I went through that too, where everybody, all the family members and friends, a lot of friends just doubted my story and said, you had to have done something to deserve this. CPS doesn't just take your kids away for no reason, blah, 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 and it's like, but they did.
Yeah, they did. They really did. They are kidnappers. They are really, really kidnappers. And now that I know the law, they had no jurisdiction over taking my children at the first incident. They should have called family to come forward, and then they could have investigated and said what happened. You know what I mean? But they just took them. They just took them. They entered them into the system. They made me sign this paperwork saying that I submit. I never wanted to submit. What did I do wrong? And the whole court system where El Dorado County is so corrupt. Everybody in the courtroom was laughing and making jokes, being unprofessional. They were all friends. All of the social workers, all of the judges. The judge was even a biased person. It makes me so upset. It's just not fair.
No.
So, but I'm still trying to fight. So I'm still trying to fight. I don't think that I deserve this, and I don't think a lot of people deserve it.
I agree. And what makes me so frustrated is that I'm thankful that you have a son, another child, but what makes me frustrated is that they think you're a fit mom for him, but not your daughters. And there's another mom that I've interviewed where she discussed the same thing. She had 3 girls, I think, and 1 boy, and they took the girls. And while the case and all that stuff was still open, she had the boy, and they'd been threatening that they want to take him, but they haven't done it. And her case with her kids got closed out too.
It's so just not fair. I already know why they didn't take him, because they knew what they were doing was illegal and they got away with it. I hired attorneys, you know. I tried so much. I literally, like, Jesse's grandmother, my Uncle John, my dad, like, they all came forward, and CPS was just like, nope, we don't believe you guys. We don't, you know, we don't trust you. It was crazy. It was just way, way, way just unfair, and it makes me sick. It really, really makes me sick. And I suffer a lot now from PTSD. I have traumatic nightmares. I wake up crying in the middle of the night. Sometimes I can't sleep because I miss my daughters just so much. And it's hard. I'll never be the same until I get to see them again.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of new kids or whatever, none are going to replace the ones that you had that were taken.
Yeah. Yeah. And my daughters, I was very close to them. Like, I took really good care of them. I took them to school. I took them to counseling. Like, I had them for 6 months throughout that CPS case. And another reason why they said that that my case was over is because I ran out of time.
What does your husband have to say about all of this?
Well, I mean, he's never going to be the same ever again. He was such a good dad to those girls. Like, those were his entire world. Like, and when I'm telling you, like, your entire world, like, he was so close to them. Like, they love their dad. And it was such a shame that my daughters couldn't speak up, because when they would speak up, like, I love my dad, my mommy and daddy love each other. Like, we don't want this. You know, like, my daughter tried so hard to speak up, and they wouldn't listen to her because of her age at the time. And that's just even more heart-wrenching. And I feel so bad for my husband, because he really does suffer a lot from emotional just distress. You know, he can't sleep. He wakes up sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he can't go back to sleep. He cries. I've caught him, crying, and it's sad. It's just, it's not fair. It's really, really, really not fair.
No, it's not.
No, but yeah, I've lost my parental rights October 17th, 2018. And I had my last visit with my daughters in November. And I filmed everything, and I tried to use that in court, and they wouldn't allow me to. I filmed my daughter Emma crying and telling me that I don't want to go to Oregon. I want to stay here with my mommy and daddy, and I want to stay with my cousins and my grandma. And they didn't listen to her. And it's just sad, because now she's with these people who have never had anything to do with them since the day they were born. And now all of a sudden you want to come out because you were looking into adopting children anyways. And I just can't believe my own family, like your own family, would do that. Because I don't care. I mean, I care as like a mom, like if you're doing drugs or you're getting high in front of your kids, or you're not taking care of your kids, or you're abusing your children, I understand that. But I never did that to my children. And I would never be able to keep a mother away from her child at all. You know what I mean? Like that's their mommy, that's their daddy. And now my son, I get to explain to him that, yeah, you have sisters, but I don't know when you're going to be able to see them again. That's disgusting.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just, they get away with so much. And it's like legally kidnapped. It really is. But what else? I wrote down notes and stuff. I was pretty much backed into a corner that if I didn't leave my husband, I was not going to get my kids back. When the case first started, I went to the CPS office, like I said, and I was like, well, what do I need to do? And she's like, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do to get your kids back. You need to tell me. You need to show me what you're going to do. And I'm like, this is my first CPS case. I've never been in trouble like with CPS before. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
They were just completely like, that county is messed up, and you'll probably get a lot more people that come forward from that county, because there is a lot of corruption in that county. And I really hope to God that they get caught, because they are illegally adopting children now, and they do get money off of it. They get profits, they get a bonus.
Now, you said that you live in Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
But the case was in California?
Yeah. I got out of there. I immediately, like, I transferred because I do timeshare. I work for a diamond resort. So I got this huge opportunity where Hawaii saw my numbers and they were like, hey, we want you. And I was just like, well, yeah, let's go. It's Hawaii, number one. And number two, I wanted to get out of Tahoe. I was so scared just from when I would see white cars parked or county stickers, like I was being followed. I was just so scared. I was so scared that these people were watching my every move. And I looked at my husband, I said, you know what? You're not working right now. I'm working, we're transferring, we're leaving, we're going. And I moved here October of 2019, and I've been here since.
How is it?
It's hot. It is really hot. And hi, it's okay. It's really hot, and it's really, really, it's beautiful, but it's extremely hot. It's very humid. You kind of get like island sickness, I feel like, because you can't just get in the car and drive to grandma's house, or you can't just go to dad's house. You know, you have to get on an airplane to do anything. But it's fun. I really like it here, and I can see myself here for a long time, and it's safe. It's crazy here because there are laws, and there's so much difference here. Like, they don't believe in taking your kids away from you. They want you to have your kids. They believe in ohana, as they say. And I've talked to numerous police officers that have come into where my job is, and I've asked them questions, and he just, the things that he's told me, it was just ridiculous, like what is going on over on the mainland compared to being over here where they don't take your kids away from you. If you and your husband get into a fight, they make the husband leave and he has to come home at 6 a.m. If they get another call, then somebody gets arrested. It's just so much simpler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I was pretty much backed into a corner, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know the law. And that's why I think for parents that are involved in CPS, you need to hire a lawyer. You need to come up with the funds to hire a real attorney to fight this case for you. Because if you don't, you are going to get done dirty by them. And they will take your kids away from you. They will take your kids away from you.
Yes.
And that's what happened to me. And I hope that my story gets shared. And I hope that other people are able to learn from my experiences,
What would you tell people that are listening?
I would just tell people that if you're involved in a CPS case, that you need to do what you're supposed to do. Number one, you need to not give them too much information. You need to just, hi, bye, this is done. This is what I did today. I drug tested. I did this. I did that. Just keep it very low. Don't even just do what you're supposed to do and hire a lawyer.
Yep.
That's what I would say. Because if I would have known what happened in the very beginning, I've talked to so many lawyers, so many attorneys that have told me that in the very beginning, they had no jurisdiction to take my children away from me. They didn't have that. And now I can't go back unless I'm able to, because my parental rights are gone, and my children have been illegally adopted, or legally adopted by my cousin.
Have you tried filing an appeal?
I lost my appeal.
How?
They said that they did everything correctly, that I ran out of time, that I wasn't supposed to be seeing the husband, or my husband, that I wasn't supposed to have him around my children unsupervised, that I got pregnant when I wasn't supposed to get pregnant. Oh.
Because they have so much control over you. They can tell you when and what you can and can't do.
Yep. That was the big reason that I wouldn't leave my husband. And I didn't believe in it. I'm sorry. When you marry somebody and you go through ups and downs and trials and contributions, or whatever the word is, you get through it with that person.
Yeah, tribulations. Yeah, I get it. Agreed.
And like I said, my husband wasn't abusing my children. He wasn't abusing me. We just got into a fight, stuff happens. Nobody's perfect.
It's sad though.
It is really sad. And I have a really hard time with it still. I don't know how to explain it. When I start thinking that I'm not going to see my daughters probably until they turn 18, it just tears me apart. It just tears me apart. And it's just, I cannot believe that they're growing out without their cousins, without their grandma, without their uncles and aunts, their mommy, their daddy, their brother, their grandpas, their grandmas. Like, it's just, I can't. It makes me really, really just upset. And I don't know. It's just,
How old
I've
are they?
seen 8, September 19th, turned 5 on April 17th. So it's just, I'm missing out on everything. And that's what hurts me the most, because I was so close to both of them. You know, and those were my daughters. Those were my babies. And I don't know if they're going to hate me. You know, I don't know if they're going to not want to see me or talk to me. Like, I don't know what they're feeding their brains. And that's one of the other parts is when CPS was doing my case, they did so much illegal things where they would talk to my daughters when I wasn't around, or they would go to their daycare or their schools and pull them out. And that's illegal.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that.
No.
And they got away with it. They
Yeah.
really did get away with it. Especially when they threatened me with stuff. They manipulated the system by using lies and deceit to twist our story around in our words. And they made me sound like I was unfit.
What was in your case plan?
So my case plan consisted of 53 weeks of parenting classes, drug and alcohol counseling, random drug testing.
Have you ever been on drugs?
Yeah, when I was way younger, before I had children at all.
Oh, they made you do it because of the marijuana.
Yeah.
Okay, that's stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, I've been clean from drugs for 10 years. So I never really got into it. I did and I didn't. You know what I mean? When I had children, when I got married to my husband, it was a clean slate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have that dream about having a family and going to Disneyland and making dinners and being a normal family and going on walks. And that's what we did. And, you know, just like everybody in America.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's very sad. Very sad. There was so many times where I tried to, you know, fight them on stuff, and they would get even more angrier at me because I would call them out, or my husband especially would call them out and be like, you're violating our civil rights. You're violating our rights as an American citizen. And they would basically be like, prove it. What are you going to do? You don't have any power against us. You know, like they treated us like crap. They really did. And they treated my entire family. They treated my mother-in-law like crap. They treated my poor grandmother like crap. They were the most evilest people that I have ever met in my life. And I honestly think that if my mother was alive, a lot of this wouldn't have went down the way that it did. And he wouldn't have those kids right now. My cousin would not have those children right now. But another thing that I did, I tried to do a 388 request, which is a without evidentiary hearing and terminating parental rights of Em and Ava. I tried to do that when I hired an attorney, and I got denied that as one of my appeals. And what I was trying to do was I was trying to get my children placed with my Uncle John, who did the RFA process to have those children in his home. He went through all the classes. He did a background check, and CPS denied him because of my close relationship with him, saying that me and Jesse would have unlimited.
That makes me mad.
Yeah. That they did that to everybody.
How many people did you have in your list that would take them?
I had a very close friend of mine who was willing to take my children, her and her husband. I had my Uncle John, I had my dad, I had my mother-in-law, Ramona, I had Jesse's great-grandmother, Beverly, and then Jesse's, my sister-in-law, Abby, and her husband, Michael. I had so many people try to come forward to try to get those girls, and they denied every single one of them and went for the family, which is on my side, knowing that I had no relationship with him. And it was mostly out of anger. It was more to punish me and Jesse for being dishonest with CPS about our relationship. It was to punish us. He's so cute.
Mama's boy.
Yeah, so is mine as he's getting older. But yeah, it was to punish us. That's how I feel. Because we weren't honest with them. And that's another thing that I would tell parents. Charlie, my dog, sorry. I would tell parents that as much as you want to be dishonest, you need to just be honest about your relationship with the other person. Because in the long run, that's going to get your kids taken away too. If you're not honest with them, they will use that against you. They will twist your words. When you go into that courtroom, I had so much paperwork where I would say something and I would look at it and go, I never said that. I said that, but I didn't say that. Like, what in the world, you know?
Yep.
And that's
how they twist things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what they did to us. They just twisted every single thing that me and him said or we did, and they just made it to where they made us sound horrible in court. They made me sound like I was just this drug addict, abusive, just crazy person. And that's not me at all. You know, I've never physically ever harmed my daughters, ever. I would never do that. I'm not that type of parent. I'm not that type of person.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's not fair. And I feel bad. I saw this show. My friend tagged me in, you know, this thing that we're doing right now. And I was just like, I'm going to say something. Like, I want to show parents, like, what my story is, what I've been through with these people. These people are not your friends.
No. No, they're not.
Go ahead.
I'm just thinking. Did your husband, did he have a case plan too?
He had a case plan. So the second time, okay, so when me and Jesse, we went through the entire case, you know, we did reunification. We got our daughters back in August of 2017. Well, a couple weeks later, I was at work, and my husband had taken our daughters to his grandmother's house, and they were all watching the Conor McGregor fight. And Jesse had a couple of beers, you know, watching the fight, hanging out, not doing anything wrong. Well, him and his dad had a disagreement, so the police got called, and because Jesse drank a couple of beers, CPS, I stayed the night at the grandmother's house that night, and I just told Jesse, just go to my house, you know what I mean? Because I have to keep the kids safe. They're going to say something, they're going to get upset with us because you were drinking. I'm at work. It's better for you just to go stay the night at my house, and I'll stay the night here. So that's exactly what I did. Well, the next morning, I went back to my husband in the morning, and I said, you need to call CPS and tell them what happened. And because I did that, I allowed Jesse to be around my daughters that morning. They took the girls away from me the second time. And I hired an attorney because I was just like, I wasn't even there. I had nothing to do with this. Like, I did what I was supposed to do. They said that I failed to protect.
They said that about me too. And then they also said that you are a domestic violent person regardless if you're the victim or the person who's doing it. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm, you know, because I had that too. And I don't know.
Yeah. But that second time that happened, I did hire an attorney, and he got my daughters back for me. But one of the stipulations was because Jesse did that, which I don't even kind of know what he did, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically where they threw Jesse out of the case. They were just like, we're done with you. It's all on Kelsey's shoulders. If Kelsey wants her kids back, she'll do everything that she has to do to get them back. And I did, but I didn't keep them away from their dad. They love their dad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it is really sad. And they held that against me for a very, very long time. They said that, what did they call me? They said that I was codependent.
Yeah.
They used that against me in court.
That's what they said about me too.
Yeah, they said that I was codependent and that I couldn't leave my husband and that I chose a man over my children.
That's what they told me too.
It makes me mad. It makes me really sad, and it's not fair. And like I said, I have so many people that went through some of the same things that I went through, that lost their children over it, and it's just not right. And I don't even know where to go, where to step forward, whether to go backwards, forwards. I don't know. You know, all I know is that I have 2 daughters that I don't get to see until probably they turn 18 years old, and it's not fair. And I had 1 case, mind you. This was 1 CPS case, and I lost my kids. 1 case. I didn't have 3 cases. I didn't have 4 cases. I had 1 case. And they said that I ran out of time. And that's why I lost my daughters. So it's not fair.
No. No, it's
And when
not.
I tell people my story, they can't believe it. They're just like, are you serious? Like, you lost your children because of that? And I'm like, yeah. And they tried to say more of it was domestic violence, but that's not true at all. Oh, and smoking weed. They told my cousin that I was a drug addict because I smoked pot.
I was told that, so I had to smoke. My doctors, actually, my real doctors prescribed it, like wanted me to take it because I was on pain meds. And they're like, we want you to try this instead because it wasn't affecting my pain. And then when I had to go to the hospital, and the day they took my kid, they drug tested me, and there was marijuana in my system. And I've never been high. I never did it to get high. I only used it for medicinal reasons. And so I was accused of being a drug addict also.
And it's so messed up because, like, my mom died because of her taking pain medicine. If marijuana was legal when my mom was having her stuff and her stuff like that, every single time she would smoke weed, she was perfectly fine. She didn't take her pills. She actually ate. And it's just this society and this government is just, it's messed up because you'd rather have them be on drugs, on pills, than smoke pot.
So she overdosed? That's what you said happened?
I don't know it, and I don't think she overdosed. I think my mom had a stroke. Yeah, she had a stroke, and that was because of abusing her pills and drinking and not taking her, you know, how would I say this? Not taking care of herself properly. Like, she had high blood pressure. She wasn't taking her medication for that. She was drinking. She wasn't eating. She was just taking, you know, just mixing pills and alcohol, and you can't do that. It eventually catches up to you.
What pills was she on?
My mom was on methadone, Selmas, Norcos. She was allergic to Oxycontin, so she couldn't take Oxycontin, but she took those ones, Selmas and methadones.
Wow.
Yeah. And when she would smoke pot, she didn't take her pills. She was perfectly fine, and that's what makes me so mad. I'm so sad. But
I know.
And I'm an only child too, just to let you know. So I only had mom and dad. I don't have brothers. I don't have sisters.
Where's your dad?
My dad lives in Topaz, Nevada, or Wellington. And I'm really close to him. Like I said, I had a great childhood. My parents never beat up on each other. My parents never did drugs. They just drank and had barbecues, and we went camping, and that's what I wanted for my children. And now I don't get that chance, except for one, and I'm going to give him everything.
Good.
So, yep. But I would just say that, you know, just do everything that you need to do and hire an attorney, hire a lawyer, because their system and their, you know, in these court cases is it's a circle. The judge is friends with the attorney, the district attorney, the public defender, this public defender, this, you know, it's just a circle. They're all buddies. And the amount of corruptness that I witnessed in that courtroom, I wish to God I could have just done something, because these people would be catching felonies and going to prison for a long time. And that's the sad thing about CPS cases, is that you can't prove that. They have so much power and control over the whole situation. And it's just, it's sickening. It's not fair.
No.
So, but I can't even say it was a lesson, because I didn't learn anything from it. If anything, it made me hate the system.
Yeah.
And when they had my daughters in the foster care, in the foster home visits, and they would have bruises on their noses, or they would have scabs, and I would ask them what happened, and be like, well, there's this boy in the foster home and he picks on me. And I'm like, well, did he do that? And she would be like, no, he just, I fell. And I'm just lying to me, like, what's going on? And I have a very valid feeling that my daughters were being abused in those foster homes while they were in South Lake Tahoe, California. She would cry.
What's with the service today?
Oh, sorry. So I feel like my daughters were more traumatized in the system than when I had them.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like they caused them more trauma. But there was also times like when they would also come to like my visits, you know, and just tell me about like the foster home or about her counseling. You know, she would just ask me really weird questions, kind of like, and I would be like, how do you even like know what that is? Or, you know what I mean? I honestly think that they were being abused.
There's nothing you can even do about it. That's what's sad.
Yeah. You can't do anything about it now. I mean, I could try, but I don't understand it. It just makes me really, really sad. And I feel bad for a lot of parents like myself that have lost their children. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's I mean, like I said, my case was throughout a experience from June 2016 until October 2018. That's how long my case lasted.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then yeah, I don't even know. They denied everybody. So
well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us your story. And again, thank you for being patient. And I love your honesty, and I'm just sad and sorry.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, let me get an update if you end up getting them back, or, you know, something.
Yeah.
All right.
I will, for sure.
Thank you. Hope you have
Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day too.